Be a sponge, and then bring the juice.
Hello and welcome back to the Edge of Greatness. I'm your coach, Charles Schultz, and I'm excited today to talk to you about a very important topic: change. The truth is, change is hard. It challenges us. It pushes us outside of our comfort zone. It puts us into really difficult situations where we have to make decisions. And often, whether that change is unexpected or it's a chosen path to make change, it doesn't really matter because we still have to adjust ourselves. We still have to change the way we operate in order for that change to happen. And a lot of times you hear people talk about consistency, habits, routines, all of these different words that are buzzwords to connect you to this idea that, you can make a change if you just do one thing. But the truth is, change is it's hard. It's a lot of little things. It's a lot of things that come together to work to help propel you past old habits to create new ways of operating. And what I find is that a lot of people, they want to change. I mean, I'm pretty sure you probably want to change. I'd imagine at the time of this recording, it's March 5th. We're 2 months into the new year. You probably had some changes that you had planned for this new year. I guess my question for you is how many of you are still on track? How many of you are still actually making progress towards those changes? How many of you have given up and said, nah, next year, I'll do that next year? I hear it so often. I hear, I want to make a change. I want to do these things. And then, it's not the right time. Now's not a good time. It's too hard. I don't have all the tools, the time, whatever it may be, whatever the excuse is. But it's not that you don't want to change. It's that you fail to create systems and habits and routines and things to implement the change. We need those. Otherwise, we find ourselves stuck on this roller coaster of life. We find ourselves going up and feeling good, and then it gets hard, and then we drop down, and then we stop, and then we do a loop, and then we get turned hard, and we're pulled all these directions. But that's not fun to live that way. That's not how you need to approach change. You need to find a way to be consistently moving towards your target. Another thing that happens a lot that I see very often, especially when it's a chosen change, when we go and say, man, I want to do this thing, we come out the gate super hot. Like we're motivated, we're fired up, we're excited. And that's awesome. I'm glad that you're excited about this new thing. But you're not going to sprint the marathon. You're not going to come out of the gates fired up and sprinting and then make it the entire 26 miles. You have to find small ways to implement little adaptations to your life to create consistency. And again, that's another buzzword, consistency. We've all heard it. And in a little bit, I'm going to talk to you about how I implement and apply consistency to my life. But I need to talk a little bit more about some of the pieces that you're going to need to address in order to create that consistency that you're looking for. Because the truth of it is without this consistency, the motivation in our life is going to fade. The excitement about the new thing is going to go away. And at that point, you're going to have to figure out new ways to get up and get going. You're going to have to figure out new ways to dig into what it means to take that step today. Because you're not going to always want to take that step. Especially on the hard days. You're going to get to those points where it's like, man, today's just not a good day. And if you're a person who doesn't have good habits, you don't have the routines, you don't have the systems, what you're going to find is you're going to have inconsistent results, and it's going to lead to a lack of discipline. The habits, routines, and systems are the pieces that build the steps that are necessary to get to the thing that we want. Everybody has goals. We all have goals. Everybody's goals are available and out there, and you probably have them written down somewhere. But if you don't have the habits, routines, and systems in place to get you there, those goals are just a dream. I heard a really interesting story the other day, and it was talking about the 100-meter dash. And at the start line of the 100-meter dash, every single person running that race has the same goal of running 100 meters as fast as they can, faster than the person next to them. The goal isn't the problem. The habit, systems, and routines that got them ready for them to attack that goal, the person with the best of that wins the race. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that you have all the tools in the toolbox to create the consistency to allow for you to have the success that you want. And we're going to look at that here in just a moment. We're going to take a little quick break. We're going to step away for a second. But when we come back, we're going to dive into one of the things that I am excited about is, one, how I attack creating change, creating consistency, and going about implementing these new strategies, and how you can start to do that yourself. But we'll do that right after this commercial break.
1 week after launching our exclusive sneak peek, NGBN TV was live for 3 days of continuous coverage from Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas.
NGBN TV is live from Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58.
The one-of-a-kind streaming TV network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s was the conversation for the big game about men's mental health. And the world of athletes, celebrities, and influencers were on notice. But we're just getting started with new partnerships announced like the Team Nike 3-on-3 Championship and new platforms available to download the NGBN TV app. So, what are you waiting for? Download the app today from your favorite streaming device or check us out at ngbn.tv. This is NGBN TV.
What's up? My name is Chris Rubio, and I'm the host of The Rubio Method on the NGBN TV network.
Focus. Focus up.
Long snapping and life are very, very similar.
We have a great show that's going to educate you, inspire you, and most importantly, entertain you. I say most importantly because that's what I really want to do. And we're just kind of going on this journey together. And I'm going to make sure as we go on this journey together, you're going to have a good time while doing it. So check out The Rubio Method on NGBN TV.
Hey, everybody, listen, join me, Doug Brooks, a.k.a. known as Big Time, on the Big Time Tour podcast. He's seen on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central and on Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. Central. You need to come on, hang with me. You know what? It's going to be crazy. Yeah. Thank you, Craig.
Hello and welcome back to the Edge of Greatness. And as I'm sure you're all waiting to hear, you want to hear how we can create consistency in our life. There's a 3-step approach that I take when I look at creating consistency or making a change, because the first step is to acknowledge that this change is going to be hard. So how and what steps do I need to take to make sure that the change that I want eventually happens, eventually comes to fruition? And part one of this change, part one of this consistency, and that allows me to kind of show up every day, is to aim small, miss small. And if any of you are out there are Mel Gibson fans, I'm sure you've heard that before. The Patriot, he's sitting there with his rifle and he's sitting and talking to himself, aim small, miss small, aim small, miss small, aim small, miss. But what does that mean? Well, the idea behind aim small, miss small is if you have a target that's really tiny and you're shooting for a small area, even if you miss by a little bit, there's a good chance you're going to hit the overall target that you want. If I'm aiming and I'm playing darts and I'm aiming for the bullseye and I miss just a little bit and I hit the green part, I don't hit the red, I hit the green. Technically, that's still a good shot. We want our targets to be small. We want our aim to be focused. It has to be driven and directed at something specific. And by aiming small, we give ourselves a better chance of hitting what we're shooting for. And that builds confidence. And that makes you feel good. And that makes you show up again. If you have a huge target for today's goal, today I need to run 22 miles because I'm prepping for a marathon, but I have never run before, but I'm going to get going and I need a long run today. You're not going to hit that. You're definitely not going to hit that consistently. Sure, you might suffer through the first day and get 22 miles and it's going to look gross and sloppy, but you're going to be so sore you won't show up for the next 3 days. And that does you no good. But if I say today I need to put my shoes on and run down the block. Every day I need to put my shoes on and run down the block. Now I'm aiming small. I can run down the block. I can get to the end of the street. Similarly, I took this approach when I wrote my books. I had a target of 100 words a day. Now, for you guys watching, just so you can understand, I can type 100 words in probably about a minute. There's no reason why I can't find a minute in my day to sit down and to start to write. And by making that target small, I get a lot of check marks on the days. And the more check marks I get, the more confidence I get, the more excited I get, the more dopamine that's released, the better I feel, the more I show up. So that aim small, miss small has to be has a priority for you. Start small. Pick tiny targets. Part 2 of this, never miss twice. This is a big one. And I think this is where a lot of people struggle and fail. And especially in the world of like weightlifting or going to the gym or losing weight. When you have a fitness goal, this is what I see a lot. I'm excited. We got that big goal. I'm going to show up 5 days this week. I'm going to crush it. And then next week I get busy and I go 3 times. And then the next week I get busy again and I go twice and then once. And then, well, I've missed too many days. Set small targets. If you miss, make sure you get it tomorrow. Because you're going to miss. When you make changes in your life, there's going to be parts of it that are so hard because you're so ingrained in doing it a different way that you're going to have a miss. That it happens. But if you make it a priority to never miss that part again, to never miss 2 days in a row, to never miss twice, then you're going to show up the next day. You may even do a partial rep. You know, a partial rep beats not showing up. And if you have the mindset of never missing twice, the first miss doesn't deter you. You show up again and you give it a go and you make progress the next day. The problem comes when you miss twice. It's so much easier to make that the new habit. But if you get back on the horse and you show back up and you push yourself forward, now you're teaching yourself that, you know, you can have a miss, but this is who I am now. I'm the person who shows up. I'm the person who's here today to do my work. So make that a priority. Don't miss twice. Allow yourself some grace. You're going to miss occasionally, but never, never, never miss twice. The last part of this is the one-step rule. And the one-step rule is very simple. On days where you don't feel motivated, on days you don't feel like showing up, and there's going to be a lot of them, because this journey isn't short. It's a long journey. You have to be ready to show up. On the days you don't want to do the thing that you have tasked, take one step. Because the hardest part is starting. It's not doing the work. It's starting the work. How many times have you wanted to go to the gym and you're like, man, I just don't want to go today. But then you start your warm up and you start to feel a little better. And then you do your first set and you start to feel a little better. And then you get into your workout and you're like, man, yeah, I'm crushing it now. And then by the time it's over, you're rolling. I've had several days like that when I was writing too, where I'm like, man, I don't have anything to say today. I don't have anything to write. I don't want to do this, but I know I have to get 100 words. So let's start with one word. Okay, now let's do 2. All right, I'm 50 words in. Okay, there's 100. Oh, I'm starting to feel good. Things are starting to come to me. The hardest part is to start. So if you're somebody who's looking to build consistency, make sure you take one step towards that target, towards that first aim small, miss small goal. You have to take one step towards it every day. So if you're looking to run or build a running habit, step one is you got to put on your running shoes. If you put on your running shoes, you're more likely to step out of the house and actually take a step onto the street, onto the pavement. And once you take that first step forward, well, I'm a little further from home, so maybe I'll take another step. And then every step you move away from home is another step you have to return to it. So now we're making progress. So whatever your tasks are, look at them, lay them out. What's my task? What's my aim small, miss small goal today? What's the first step of that? Take the first step and watch the momentum build. Momentum and motivation and all of these things that you hear words about. Motivation is such a fake term because action creates motivation. Motivation doesn't drive you. The action creates the motivation. So you need to take that step. And that's the big thing that you need to focus on today is what step can you take? So we talked a lot about these tactics here, how I can start to create consistency. But I guess the big thing is why is consistency the king? Right? Why does consistent action matter? There's this important thing to start to think about when you look at becoming consistent, when you look at becoming somebody who is habitually taking steps towards your target. If you are a person and you're person A and here's person B, and person A takes one step forward every day, and person B takes 5 steps forward on Monday, but that's it. So person B fires out the gates and gets way ahead of person A, and it looks good. They're doing well. But by the end of the week, person A has passed them. We're 2 steps ahead now. And every week we get 2 more steps ahead because we're consistently showing up and just taking one little step versus trying to sprint 5 steps and then trying to figure out how to do it again. And by the end of the year, person A gets 365 steps. Person B gets 260. We're 105 steps ahead. In 5 years, we got 1,825 steps to 1,300. That's 525 extra steps ahead. And if you think of this in terms of days, because every day you take a step as a win, you're 500 days ahead in 5 years. You're a whole year and a half ahead of the person who's inconsistent. And in 10 years, 3,650 days, 300,650 steps versus 2,600 steps. It's an extra 1,000 steps. You're over 3 years ahead now, or you're getting close to that 3-year ahead mark. I guess it's not over 3, but we're getting close to being 3 years ahead of the person who was taking the 5 big steps and then no more. Small and steady wins the race. It is our daily actions that matter. Because here's the other part of this. If you are a person who takes 5 hard steps and then you don't take any more, if you miss that day because something comes up, that 5 hard steps day just all of a sudden got skipped. Now you missed a whole week. Now you didn't make any progress. Where the person who's taken 1 step, if they miss a day, but then they never miss twice, now they're still getting 6 steps. They're still beating the person who's taking the 5 hard steps, the 5 quick steps, the 1 to jump ahead steps. That consistency leads to habits, leads to routines, leads to systems, and those habits then become who we are. This is the difference between the person who tries to sprint to the finish line, gets worn out, waits a little bit, recovers, recuperates, and then sprints again, versus the person who just takes a step forward every day. You know, we've all heard the story of the tortoise and the hare. It's a tale as old as time, but it's true. We get distracted if we sprint and stop, sprint and stop, sprint and stop. We don't create habits that way. We just get a little bit of action, then we get distracted by taking a nap, grabbing some food, taking a break, whatever it is, and then here comes the tortoise, putzing along, 1 step at a time, making progress, and they beat us. Do what you need to do to create consistent action in your life. The 3 steps I laid out at the beginning of this segment are ways that I do it. If you have a way that works for you to create a system that allows for you to show up every day, that's the one you need to implement. I think the 3 things I laid out work really well. I think if you do those things, you'll find yourself being more consistent, creating energy, and being able to adapt to the change in your life. But it really comes down to that little bit. What are you able to do? What are you able to commit to? Do you have the discipline to at least show up and take that step? So I want to say thank you so much to my sponsor, Go Primal Lifestyle and Fitness Apparel. You need to go check them out. Go Primal Lifestyle and Fitness Apparel. Use promo code EDGE10 for 10% off when you go to visit them. They got some really awesome stuff, really cool apparel, going to get you ready to go. I tell you what, I'm excited about what they're doing, not just on the apparel side, but if you haven't, go check out Chris Fontana's show as well, the Primal Lifestyle. You'll understand the fitness apparel that goes along with that show once you go and check him out. He's awesome. He's got some really cool stuff going on. But we're going to dive into a world of greatness with a really cool guy right after these commercial breaks.
What's up, everyone? This is Chris Fontana, founder of Go Primal Lifestyle and Fitness Apparel and host of the Primal Mindset Show on NGBN TV. Coming to you from Long Island, New York, with the transformative show that shares inspiring stories of overcoming adversity and embracing personal growth. Hosted by me, who has triumphed over immense challenges, including addiction, mental health struggles, and significant weight loss. This show features conversations with individuals who have conquered their own obstacles. Through heartfelt discussions, the Primal Mindset offers hope, guidance, and inspiration to listeners, encouraging them to persevere and never settle. Join us on this empowering journey of resilience and transformation as we share the stories of incredible individuals who have embraced the power of the Primal Mindset. Join us on NGBN TV.
One week after launching our exclusive sneak peek, NGBN TV was live for 3 days of continuous coverage from Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas.
NGBN TV is live from Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58.
The one-of-a-kind streaming TV network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s was the conversation for the big game about men's mental health. And the world of athletes, celebrities, and influencers were on notice. But we're just getting started with new partnerships announced like the Team Nike 3on3 Championship and new platforms available to download the NGBN TV app. So, what are you waiting for? Download the app today from your favorite streaming device or check us out at ngbn.tv. This is NGBN TV.
Hello and welcome back to the Edge of Greatness. We're going to join a world of greatness moment here, and I'm going to highlight a man who I had the great privilege to have a conversation with a few years back. His name is Jake Segura. He is the lead singer of Citizen Soldier. And the reason why I want to highlight him is because he has turned his lowest point in his life, where he actually got to a place where he got depressed, attempted suicide, and he turned that moment into fuel for his art that he now creates for the world. He writes songs aimed at helping people who feel like outcasts, who are depressed, alone, maybe a little different, and has taken this tragic moment in his life, this down moment in his life, and turned it into a bunch of raving fans. His Instagram is now over 200,000 followers. He's sold out concert dates throughout the next several months that I was looking at his concert schedule, and he's making a difference. But the biggest thing is this, is that we all are going to have moments in our life that are challenging, that are tragic. Maybe not to the extreme that Jake has gone through, but what we do with our negative moments, what we do with our negative feedback, what we do with the moments that are the hardest for us are ultimately going to determine the life that we live. Because no path is sunshine and rainbows. No path is all smooth sailing. That just doesn't exist. You can have really good stretches, but eventually you're going to have an obstacle to overcome. What are you going to do with that obstacle? What are you going to do with that pain? What are you going to do with that suffering and that difficulty? Are you going to dwell in it and make it become who you are? Or are you going to use it to change the world, to change your life, to do something special with it? I definitely recommend you check out my conversation with him. It's on the NGBN app as well as on my YouTube. You can go check it out. Again, his name is Jake Segura. He's an awesome dude. He's done some incredible things, and it's led him to a place that now he's making an impact on the world. So what I want to do now is I also want to say we at NGBN have a very, very special event coming up. And speaking of Jake and his struggles with trying to commit suicide and attempting suicide, I want to make sure I bring awareness around an event that we have coming up, which is our Equip Yourself to Save a Life event, where we were going to teach suicide first aid to 100,000 people live April 6th, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 different times. You can sign up on ngbn.tv. Go to the website. You can check it out. You can get yourself signed up. Spread the word. Tell people about it. Get as many people to show up to this as possible, because the signs aren't always obvious. We don't always know what's going on in people's lives. And if we can learn how to recognize these things, if we can learn how to see these situations before they become a place where we can't return from, we can save some lives. There's a really, really cool video that's been floating around recently, and it speaks to me about the importance of this. 2 men are at, I believe it's a soccer event. The one looks really melancholy. The other one's really excited and clapping and into the game. And during this whole time, the excited one's talking and trying to get the one who's just sitting there amped up. And his responses from the guy who's sitting there are just always like, yeah, it's okay. Things are good. And then at the end of it, it flashes to a screen and it says something along the lines of, we don't always know. Sometimes the signs are obvious that somebody is struggling. And then it flashes back, and the guy who's melancholy is still there, and he brings up, looks like a flag of some sort or a towel, some type of banner that they swing at the event, and he lays it over his buddy's seat. And then it says, sometimes the signs aren't so obvious. And this is why this event is so important, because we don't always recognize the signs. It's not always obvious, but we need to be more aware. We need to start to pay attention, and then we can help more people. So check out the event. Go make sure you sign up. As always, guys, I want to say thank you so much for taking time and spending it with me. I know you could be anywhere and you choose to join me. That means a lot to me. If you know somebody who I should highlight on the World of Greatness, make sure you send an email to me, charles@theedgeofgreatnessproject.com. I would also love it if you would connect with me on any of my social platforms, X, Instagram, through the website, email. It doesn't matter. I am trying to be everywhere. I'm actually going to start trying to go live when I do my workouts and when I do some of the other stuff that I'm doing, so I can connect with you guys on a different level. So keep your eye out for that. That's something that I want to start to implement as part of my change, as part of the things that I'm trying to do. So I'm going to start small, maybe a minute here, a minute there, but we're going to get this thing going. We're going to start moving in the right direction. We're going to do all these things that are important to teach ourselves to do the hard thing, to show up every day. So again, thank you guys so much for being here. As always, keep reaching for the stars. Fall flat on your face, but remember, whenever we fall, always get up.